Well, well, well.
Hey, beautiful
All
one.
the feels, all the feels. How are you?
Honey, I'm fabulous. Now that I see your face, I am
Oh, let me tell you
fabulous.
something. First of all, it goes without saying that I adore you for so many reasons. And that is why, I had put together my wish list of people that I wanted to talk to for Women's Month, which was March. But because the
Yeah.
conversations were so powerful and so inspiring for me, and I did not set out with that intention. My intention was I wanted to give people that I have met along my journey, whether I knew them or not, no matter how well I knew them or not. I wanted to give them their flowers and I wanted them to hear from my lips to their ears that
Oh,
I see all of the things that you're doing, that it has impacted me in some type of way. And so you were on that list. And even though, we had some snags, I was like, I don't care. I got to talk to my girl. I got to talk to Cheryl. And I want to take you back to when we first met. Now, what's interesting is we have a mutual friend and he just kept going on and on and on. I was like, who is like I want to talk to her. And then of course, you allowed me to grace the cover of the fabulous Cheryl magazine and we'll get
of
into that. But before that, I read your book, The Art of the Influence. Now,
course.
I you didn't ask me to buy it. I wanted to do it because I wanted to know more about you. I wanted to um, get inside of your brain and see what kind of person you were. And now, having actually met you, having broken bread with you, and watching you on social media, you are exactly who you say you are. And I love that because I don't have to tell you, you're a best-selling author. You got a whole media company, media conglomerate, you've done film, you do everything. So I know you've seen a lot. And it is
Yes.
not often in this business that you run
Mhm.
across people who are exactly who they say they are every time you see them and every time they show up.
I
That's who you
have to
are.
agree with you 100%. Not saying that that's not me, but I have to just speak on what you just said. It's so refreshing to meet someone who is exactly the way that they are on social media as in person. I have to
Yeah.
tell you, that's how I feel about you. You bring that
Oh,
same energy. When you walk in the room, the energy is fire. It's no pretense. It's no, you don't have to, you don't have to try to figure out, well, who is she today? Is she this way? Is she that way? I've seen you even kill every single
yeah.
time. And I'm just honored to be in this room with you today. I couldn't think of any other place that I would want to be than celebrating my sister, making sure that I give her her flowers as well,
Yeah.
and let you know I see you, I hear you because I am you.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I think that for me, I've said this to everyone that I've spoken with. Women's Month, I understand the significance of talking about the contributions historically, socially, all of that. But I felt as though, for me personally, I couldn't speak for, all other women, but for me personally, I felt like I don't know if the people in my life, in my sister circle, and not just immediate, but the reverberation of that. I don't
Mm.
know if they know how I really feel about them. And I feel like sometimes the journey in this industry or just in life, period, for women, specifically women of color, is already difficult. And I felt I want to take some time to slow down to let them know whatever you're working on, the vision that you have is not in vain. I see it, even if nobody else sees it. And honestly, I didn't know if that was going to have any importance or not, but I didn't care. I
Right.
wanted people like you to know, girl, let me tell you something. On Sundays, when I get them little text messages, I'm like, okay, I could do it. I'm feeling better now. I'm feeling better. Okay, I got it. And they are right on time, just a little nudge of encouragement. What made you decide to even go in that direction because you're so talented, right? And you could be doing a million things, but you pour a lot of your soul into helping other people manifest their dreams.
Jasmine, I realized a very long time ago that I won't be here, I won't live forever, but I can certainly leave a legacy and an impact that will. And so, as a part of that impact, I know that women most likely are the head of the household.
Yeah.
So, if I can impact a woman, that woman will then go and impact the world. And how she's able to do that is because if her household and she is mentally sound and in a good place, she pours that into her children. And
Mm,
then her children go out and become good citizens into the world. And then they give to the world. So I take it as a personal responsibility every single day that I leave my house, Jasmine. Whatever woman I see, black, white, or other, but specifically black women and
sisters.
women of color, sisters, I say, you look so pretty. You look so good. Girl, I see you. And I cannot tell you how many women have broken down and cried that did not know me. I didn't know them. And I'm sincere with it. I don't just, oh, I need to make sure I say it to 10 people today. No, I'm sincere with it. And they can tell because when I say it, just like I'm looking at you right now, I don't just say, I see you and I'm looking for the next person like we often do in the room. We're talking to one person, but we're
Mhm.
scouting out
Oh,
somebody else. I'm intentional about the eye contact and I'm intentional about saying, I see you. And if I carry that conversation farther with them and say, how are you doing? I actually stand there and wait until they tell me how they're doing.
that's amazing. Because not a lot of people do that. I think we've kind of lost the art of communication. As
Yeah.
basic as it sounds, just communicating and having that ability to make someone in that moment feel as though they are the only person on the planet at that moment. And I think, as I don't know about for you, but as an adult, I was like, hold up. I didn't realize it was going to be this difficult and also this lonely, even though you can be connected to people. You can be a superstar. You could be, married with kids, but ultimately, it really comes down to you looking at yourself in the mirror every morning or when you lay your head on your pillow. It is you inside your head with all of those thoughts. So how just woman to woman, how do you balance, if I could just be so candid, the shit that life throws at you every direction?
Please ask me because it comes from every direction. It comes from the people who are supposed to be your friend. It comes from the people who you have gone to bat for years. You poured
Yes.
into them. But this is how I'm able to handle it. I pour into me every single day. I tell me I look good. I tell me I like me. And when I do that, everybody else like is extra. So I don't have to
That's
have
a good way to
50,000
think.
people right liking my stuff on social media. I posted it, so I liked it. So
Yeah.
if no comments, it doesn't matter. The one of the most critical and life-changing things that I did for me is I learned how to celebrate me, girl. I keep some confetti every place I go. When I get a parking space, I throw up the confetti. When I receive checks in the mail, I throw up the confetti. When I get a yes after people have told me no forever, I throw up the confetti. If I go to an event and I find out that I didn't get the award, I throw up the confetti and I celebrate me anyway. See, when you learn how to celebrate you, the world is extra. Nobody can talk you out of your peace and your joy. And so the fact that I celebrate me and I made my mindset my superpower, that's how I can deal with all the other crap that comes. Like people who say negative stuff on social media, on the most positive posts that you have put out there. I had a post where I was just talking about giving from the overflow and not the deficit. And what I meant was, and it was very clear, I had a glass, I filled it up to the
I
top,
saw
and I
that
said,
post.
can you believe that somebody, several people, commented and said, this is not biblical? Guess what I did? Nothing, because my block
And
delete game
blessed.
is tight. I don't have time to slow up justifying what I wrote, because when you go back and forth with people, you lose sight.
Right.
And I don't have time to lose sight of what I'm supposed to be focused on.
That
So
is
I
so
live a
true.
good, full life.
That's so, but even in that, there is a lesson. And the lesson is, and I know your mama, your grandmama taught you a long time ago, you can't please everybody. And I think what has
Mm-mm.
happened, the landscape has changed from just your zip code and the zip code adjacent and has now become the world,
The
right? And so
mm-hmm,
now, if your value is set in and weighed upon how many of those people out in that world are going to like you, like your comments, follow you, you're in a world of
mm-hmm.
trouble.
You really are. And that's why you have to be real sure about who you are. You have to know every day that you matter, you are enough, that validation is for parking, not for people. That's why I don't need
Stop
people.
right there. Validation is for parking, not people. I'm gonna need that on a sweatshirt. Like
Honey,
validation is for parking,
on
not
the
for people.
sweatshirt. And it is. And you know what makes that so powerful? If people really believe that, like for me, I believe it. So I don't need to go to somebody to check off and say, well, what do you feel about it? Do you think I should do it? Because in most cases, those people don't have any skin in the game.
Right.
They're not checks. They're not there when there's no money in the bank. So I don't need people, places, and things that are not even tied to my destiny to validate me. So I checked that off a long time ago. I validate me. I know that I'm blessed, that
Yeah.
I'm favored, that I have a gift to deliver to the world that I can give. It's just me.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't say that in arrogance, I say it in truth, because all of us need to adopt that thinking. If we all had the thinking that we all have a gift or several gifts to deliver to the world that only we can give, we would stop worrying about trying to please everybody.
Yeah.
Because learned a long time ago, Jasmine, just what you just said. You cannot please people. If you won $50 million in the lottery and you gave 10 people in your family $1 million, when they ran out of that $1 million, you'd be all kind of bees and everything else.
Yes.
You have so much, and you should have gave us $2 million. And can you believe she's on vacation? So after you, as the song says, after you've done all you can, just stand.
Just
I just
Dan.
I just stand. I
That's
don't
it.
worry about pleasing people,
That's
because
it.
then gonna be, as long as I'm happy and the people in my house are happy, and I'm in a good place mentally. Because for me, I know you didn't ask me this, but I'm going to tell you, the moment that I made my peace priceless and non-negotiable, I became unstoppable.
Now you done gave me two t-shirts. Now damn it, Cheryl. You done gave me two t-shirts. Damn. But you know what? There is truth in that. And let me take you back to something you just said a few minutes ago that
Oh,
for me, I decided that would not be my limitation. And that is this word arrogance. Now,
yeah.
people can play around with it and say, well, no, I'm just confident. Oh, no, no. I am arrogant. And the reason I say I'm arrogant is because I know I don't mean it in a malicious way. What I am
Right.
saying is, I know the gifts that God has given me. I'm very clear on them. I know how good I am. Okay. It doesn't mean I'm saying I'm
Absolutely.
better than everybody else. I'm talking about me. I don't know how good you are. I can tell you that I'm good. And I think for a long time, especially women, we are applauded when we are humble and quiet and demure about our gifts and our talents. But I really believe part of the reason behind the success of Black women as a movement in the past 10 years, to me,
Mhm.
has really been behind starting to stand up and say, I am arrogant. And that's okay. As long as it doesn't come from a malicious place, as long as I'm not trying to say I'm better than any and everybody and putting people, below me, then there's nothing wrong with saying that. And let me tell you something, to be quite honest, it takes a certain amount of arrogance to decide, I know people are going digital, but I'm going to do a full color paper magazine. Now say what you want to. I know what the data says, and I know the little research on your numbers, but my arrogance tells me not only am I going to do this magazine, but it's going to be successful. Not only is it going to be successful, it's going to be global, and I'm going to have people clamoring to be on the cover. That's arrogance.
It is, and I'll carry it a little bit farther. I tie it into confidence as well, because whatever God tells me to do, I'm gonna do it. I'm not checking with anybody. I'm that girl that's gonna walk in the room like I own the room, because I've totally developed that thinking of that I need to disrupt the atmosphere with my mere presence. And that's not about anybody else other than me. You don't walk in the bank, look with your head down. They're not going to give you the loan. You have to walk in the room like you're supposed to be in the room. You have to walk in the room like you're supposed to be at the table. We have got to come to the place where we think that we have to dim our lights to make other people feel comfortable. We have to stop downplaying our gifts because we're afraid that people are going to say, oh, she thinks she's so much. Well, what do you want people to think? That they're little? No,
That's
you
true.
cannot go through this life like that. You will not be fulfilled when you feel like you have to play beneath where you are, that you cannot let your brilliance shine, your beauty shine, that you cannot share your gifts for fear that it's going to make people uncomfortable. The fact is, your greatest growth will come from being uncomfortable. I've
That's
walked
it.
in rooms where I know you have walked in rooms where I'm the only Black woman. I owned fitness clubs after people said, oh my gosh, a Black woman with fitness clubs? I said, no, not with one, with five. And the thing,
You better check them.
yeah, I said that. And when we went and purchased them, yeah, I was the only Black woman in the room, but I wasn't intimidated because my parents, they never taught me there was a glass ceiling. So I never felt like anybody could stop me from being me or whatever I was supposed to be. And that's what I want to instill in every woman who ever comes in contact with me, to be bold, to be fierce, to be unapologetic about your walk, about your talk, about your vision, about your purpose, because at the end of the day, I want to die empty. I want to die,
Oh,
have
yes.
everything, fulfill everything written, every book done, every film poured into every woman. I want to die empty. And
Yeah.
I can't die empty playing small.
That's it. I've said that a gazillion times. I said, I want to be like that last little bit of toothpaste that you're trying to get out. You
Yeah.
will
Ooh, I
roll it and
it.
smooth it because you
Oh,
want every bit of it. And I feel as though, if we lived our lives like that, I think we'd be more
yes.
fulfilled. I think we'd be happy, in terms of knowing that I used everything that God gave me, everything that, the universe allowed me to be born with. I used it all.
Yes.
It's so funny. I saw a question posed on social media, and I think it hit me and has stuck with me for quite some time. And the woman was asked the question, who would you be without interruption? Meaning, if there
Mm,
were no obstacles, if there were no ceiling, if there were no guardrails at all, meaning you could do, and who would you be? And that is the place that you should always operate from. And I don't know why that just stuck with me. And I don't know if it's because as a woman, as a person of color, um, I mean, as an adult, I think when you become a certain age, there is a magic that you lose from childhood that you at one point thought you could do anything. You thought you could fly. You thought, now I don't know about you,
mhm.
but I made mud pies and I really thought you could eat these things. But that was the imagination that you could actually take dirt and water and mix it up and have these amazing pies that were going to be nutritional and delicious. And no, it's just dirt. But I think you lose a little bit of that magic as you get older. At what age do you think that some of your magic began to fade, and at what age did you find it?
I love that question because I just wrote an article about it. So when I turned 47, I got diagnosed with supraventricular tachycardia.
Okay,
And so I
first
have
of all,
two.
let's break that down. I think it's important because another part is I think women should be better stewards of their health. We've come a long way, but I
Absolutely.
think asking questions and things like that, because you could shed some information on something that somebody who's like, I've never even heard of that, and they may need to know those signs and symptoms. So first of all,
Absolutely.
break that down. What is that?
So supraventricular tachycardia is where the electrodes in your heart, they misfire and they cause your heart to beat so fast that you can die.
Oh my
And
God.
so I got diagnosed with that. I didn't know what was going on. I was taking care of everybody, my kids, my husband, and I noticed it. And so I went to the doctor, but I went to the doctor because I thought it was my shoulder. So it wasn't my shoulder. They put me on a heart monitor. And so they called and they said, you need to see a cardiologist right away. And so I went to see the cardiologist, and that's when I got diagnosed. And he said, this is not going to get any better. You need to have a heart ablation. So with the heart ablation, they go and they burn every area in your heart that's misfiring.
Oh,
So they make your heart beat, put you under, and they make your heart beat so fast you can die. And they burn all those areas. Well, the first time I had it done, it didn't work for me. So then I had to go to, they call it Jane and Jack Jane and I forgot, but it's the Heart Hospital here specialty. And the reason I'm specific with that is because I just feel so blessed that I was in the right place in the right city
mm,
to go to this hospital. So the second procedure was successful. So I started looking at my life differently. And I started realizing that I needed to live for me. I needed to get away from saying, oh, I got to do this for my kids. I got to do this for my husband. I have to do this for everybody. And I made a conscious decision that I was going to live for Cheryl, that whatever I
mm,
lost during those years, I wasn't going to beat myself up about it. I wasn't going to blame other people for it. I wasn't going to say, oh, I've been pouring into everybody else, because you always have a decision where you can say, you know what, today is the day that I'm going to pour into me. But
mm,
many of us, I don't even think it's that other people are responsible. It's the fear of, if we step out and do this thing, will we fail? And how are people going to feel about it? So I lost that fear. When I got that diagnosis that I could die, I
yeah.
lost it. So I just started where I was. I started writing, and this is so strange, Jasmine. I'm so glad you asked me this question. I started writing affirmations on social media to uplift other people as I was going through my storm.
Oh, wow.
And I was in the shower one day after this was over, and the Holy Spirit said so clear, He said, it's time for you to write the book. And I said, what book? He said, go to social media and pull every affirmation that I've given to you, and that's the book.
Isn't that something?
And to date, that book has sold over 31,000 copies. That
That's
affirms
amazing. But I think that
people.
that comes from trusting and listening and being still and quiet enough
Yes,
that you
yes,
hear it. 'Cause it's a
yes.
lot
And
of static out here, especially, it's so interesting the irony of the static and the chaos of social media, and yet
yes,
that is where, you know, you had to go to pull in order to put this book together that ultimately you heard from a quiet place. I think just even in that is just it's nothing short of amazing, and just to be in a position where you actually hear, because I think we doubt so much about what we
mhm,
think we hear and what we think it's saying, and you have to really be able to differentiate those voices, because sometimes it ain't always the Holy Spirit, it's the other one.
no, no, it's not. And that doubt, that oh, you can't do this. Oh, nobody is going to buy your book. Oh, you don't write that well. And that goes to what you asked me about the magic. That's when I got my magic back.
Yeah.
People started saying, oh, I needed this. You don't know how much that affirmation helped me. And then I started texting it to people. And I would tell people, this is not a group text. I'm thinking about you individually. I'm not sending you a group text. And it just really touched people to know that somebody could think about them in that way, not just for them to have the book, but for the person to reach out and say, you are worthy. You should know this. You are more than enough.
Yeah.
You receive preferential treatment. And so once I got that shine back, I have not slowed down. Once I got the magic and the shine back from the
That's all you
book,
needed. That's all you
that's
needed.
what I needed.
Well, if somebody were to ask you what you thought was your most valuable trait, the thing that you thought just really sets you apart from anybody else, what would you say that is?
Kindness.
Mm,
I am kind, Jasmine. Sometimes to a fault. But I want to just say this real quick. The reason that I'm kind is because I know that my kindness has saved people.
Mm.
My kindness, just by saying, "Hey, I see you," picking up the phone. I had a girlfriend that said, "You saved me," because I had already dropped my kids off to school, and today was the day I was going to kill myself.
Oh my gosh.
Kindness. That's it. And just imagine if we all made, if everybody every day just said three kind, just reached out to somebody and say, "Hey, I see you, great job, haven't spoken to you in a while, love you, how you doing?" Or go back to some of the people. This is what we miss when people lose someone. Everybody is around up until the burial. Once that's over, everybody goes back to their normal life, and they forget about the people because they've gone back. I take that back. It's not that they forgot about the people, it's just they go back to their normal
Yeah,
life.
life goes on.
I can tell you some of the best relationships and the open doors that have opened for me. It's been from people who have lost loved ones or went through um, financial distress, and everybody turned their back on them. And I didn't. And when they got in position, it's a sister right now that when she became CEO of this magazine, she said, "I'll do anything that you want me to do." She said, "Because you were one of the only people who stayed in touch with me when I had no job, when I could bring nobody to the table." It was that kindness. She knew I didn't want anything from her. I would just say, "How you doing? Just checking on you." We have to get back to being kind. We got to get back to being relational and stop being transactional.
Yeah.
Everything is transaction. "Oh, I'm going to be nice to Jasmine because I'm going to circle back to her in 2 weeks and ask her, will she do my show? Will she do this?" I want to encourage anybody who's listening to us. You will go so much farther in life if you focus on being kind and being relational versus transactional. When you're relational and kind, the transactions come.
Yeah, it's so funny. I've said that, I can't tell you how many times when people say, "It's not what you know, it's who you know." And I said, "Hold on a second." I said, "I know people love saying that, but that is not true because you can know a
It's
lot
not.
of people. The question is, what kind of relationship do you have with them? What have you nurtured with them? Because you can say, 'Yeah, I know the head of so and so,' or 'I know this or that person.' You might know them, but do they know you? Do you have a
Mhm.
relationship, or is it you just met them a couple of times, or you talk to them, and you could talk to them every week and still not have a relationship?" So yeah, you can say, "I know them," but do you have a relationship? And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people miss the mark on. And with that, in terms of sisterhood, um, would you say that those relationships are the most important to you? Or would it be, because I think that it's so funny. I feel like, the older I get and I start thinking about relationships, I myself am not married, never been married. So my relationships with women just naturally have always been the most important in my life, outside of my family, obviously. But I find that I nurture that more than anything. But it has, for people who say to me all the time, "Oh, I can't believe you're not married. Oh, I'm sure you're lonely all the time." I'm thinking, but you don't know the sisterhood that I have. And it fills me up in ways that I never thought it would, especially when I was younger. And I think my focus when I was really young was listening to other people saying, "You got to get married. You got to get married and have kids. And you won't be successful or happy until you do that." And I was never of that belief. What stock do you put in relationships, like a good circle of sisters?
That's everything to me. Having sisters who always have your back no matter what. I have relationships with women from when I was 7 years old. And to me, when you have those kind of relationships, that says a lot about you. When
Yeah.
you have people who've been in your circle since they were seven. I love my husband, but there's nothing like a sister to come and comfort you and nourish you and see you. There is nothing that can take the place of that. It's kind of like that unwritten thing, like when a black woman sees another black woman out and y'all are only black people and you
Yeah.
just have knowing, like you don't even have to say a word, but you'll give that smile and we automatically know, oh. she's here too. I'm
Mhm.
not the only one in the room. You feel safer. That's how I feel about my sisters. I want to see my sisters win. If I get an opportunity, I'm bringing as many sisters to the table as possible. I'm going to bring so many sisters to the table that I leave that table and we go create another table. That has been sisterhood for me, has been the keeper. I had sisters love me times when I didn't love me. And I know I didn't love me because I was going through things that I wasn't quite sure how to get out of it. But because those sisters would come and say, "Don't worry, I got you. This is a safe spot." In fact, one of the most beautiful things to me is when you don't even have to have the sister say, "This is a safe spot." You automatically know that you can go, you can pour your heart out, you can show up at her door. Those are the kind of relationships that they have blessed my entire soul. They have pushed me, Jasmine, to do things that I wouldn't normally do because I didn't want to let my sisters down. I
That's
wanted them to see it was possible and then bring them along.
Now, see, I asked that question because I think people need to hear that because I think when you are on this journey of life, especially as a woman, it's just the truth, and certainly a woman of color, you're already facing so many obstacles, so many things, so many closed doors, so many no's, and I feel as though there are a lot of people who say, I don't need anybody, it's just me by myself because you can't trust nobody, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, that really says a lot about you more so than it does other people. Just like I hate to hear women say, I don't need no more new friends. I'm at a certain age and da, da. I'm like, okay, you don't realize how it really makes you sound as a person. I think you are only as strong as your sisters are because your knees will buckle one day. They just will. I mean, it's just a natural part of life, whether it is, a tragic event that brings you to your knees or a job loss or financial security loss, something is going to happen and you will need a sister, of femininity around you to help you be able to stand again. I firmly believe that. That is no knock on men. I think men are super important. They are very necessary. And I think they provide a different type of crutch, if you will. But you're right. There is nothing like, being able to talk to your sisters, knowing it's in confidence, whether it's over French toast or mimosas, any of
Absolutely.
that will do. Because sometimes you need that to, with
Yes,
life's challenges.
yes.
What is a challenge for you now? I feel like I said in the outset of this, you've done so much and you've accomplished so much. What are some of your challenges now?
The biggest challenge that I have right now, Jasmine, is from a team perspective. I'm still building my team for all of these things that God is asking me to do. And sometimes you have the wrong people and you have to address that and you have to move on and you have to be good with that and pray your way through it. And
Yeah.
so the larger the company, the more team and the more projects you have, the more people you need on the team. But it's working your way through it. It's
Yeah.
working your way through. Both people or all people can understand it's not a personal thing, it's a business thing. And we have to do what's best for the business and go from there. I am going to make you laugh. The other thing is, I am tired of people sending invoices that cannot perform the work. That's what
You
I'm
don't smoke
tired.
a word. Let me
Yeah.
if we could just unpack that
Let's
very
unpack.
quickly. Because listen, I struggle all the time. It is and anybody who knows me knows this is true. There are people that it is my heart's desire to support because
Yes.
I know that you get what you give. And I'm like, I've been in a position before where I wanted someone to take a chance on me. I wanted someone to believe in me. And so I believe too much given, much required. I got to turn around and give back. But baby, if
Mm.
your output does not match what you're trying to get me to input, I'm gonna
Say,
need us to
please
get
say
on the
that again.
same
Look,
page.
please say that again.
It is just a true, and I don't know. And maybe you can help me with this, Cheryl, because I feel like
Okay.
sometimes the definition of excellence might be different for other people. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, I can look at this and clearly see all the cracks. Why can't you see them? I don't have on any special glasses. The only thing that I can think is perhaps our vision might be different. Mine is 2020 when it comes to my business and my money.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know
Yes.
what yours is. I ain't trying to get in your business, but and I just begin to really think perhaps what I consider excellent, what I consider at the very least, this is to me minimum output. Like this is what is expected. And so I thought, well, maybe I need to manage my own expectations. And
No,
yeah,
you do not need to change your level of excellence to meet people's level of mediocrity. Period. You
period.
know what looks like. And so I tell people that going in, this is what the expectation is. And I remember one of the lessons that stayed with me in the Goldman Sachs program. It said hire slow, fire quick. They're not going to change. They are not going
Hire
to
slow and
hire
fire quick.
and fire quick. If you know in the first 2 weeks that person has sent you an invoice, I'll say PR, for example. Oh, I'm going to do this. You're going to be on TV. If I'm out booking you, I don't need you. I
That
don't
part.
need to be paying you. I'm booking 10 things, you're booking 2 things, and from the 10 things I book, I need to pay you. That I can't do it. I just I'm so out and done with that level of invoice. The day they get I mean, you get, if the payment is due on May 1st, it's in your box at 5 a.m. on May 1st, and you might not hear from them for 2 weeks.
Yep.
We've got to get better with that.
Let me tell you something. Not
You
only do we have to get better with it, I have been preaching this and talking to my brand manager about it because my thing is I have a couple of key points when I hire somebody. Now I do now I'm going to be transparent. I tend to hire quick. It's not that I don't do a deep dive. I will research, I will talk with you, and then I want to see you face to face so I can feel your energy, right? Now I think
Mhm.
energy is different than perhaps the way you work. You could have great energy and have
Yes.
a poor work ethic. You can have
Yes.
that, right? And so what I've gotten better at is firing quickly. Because my thing is this, don't ever allow me to catch you. In my world, everything is a race. Everything is a race, whether it be a marathon or a sprint, it is still a race. And so I hire you because you are supposed to be able to do what I can't. That does not mean I'm going to leave it all up to you. I'm also going to be studying what you're
Yes.
doing because
Yes.
I like to be well rounded. I think anybody worth their weight in salt should be well rounded in whatever it is that they do. Don't just be good at what you do, try to learn a little bit about everything. Now, if I, as the student, then become the teacher, I'm
That's a
not paying
problem.
the teacher a salary. I'm sorry. I can use that because it costs a lot to keep the lights on. These shoes behind me are not free. Okay. And
Look,
I
that
like them.
that part,
But
sister.
more than
That
that, it's integrity. And I don't know if that's an age thing. Is it perhaps I believe in outliers. I think you are an outlier. Everyone doesn't wake up the same as a gazelle or a lion every day. Some people wake up and they may be a sheep. Some people wake up and they may be a cat for the day, very lackadaisical in their approach and things. But then you have outliers like yourself, and you wake up every day like a lion on the hunt, or the lioness, because the truth is the lion don't hunt, the lioness does. Okay, let's get
yes.
that straight. And I think there's sometimes just a difference. And I don't know how to match that up. I don't know. I don't, because you're right. We should not lower our standards for mediocrity when we want excellence. And we wake up and perform at a 10 every day. And so
Yeah.
I just don't know what that is. I thought, well, maybe it's a difference
Look,
in
I just have
definition.
I don't do it. I don't do well in those circumstances, and I'm very vocal about it. I manage it in a very I just say this is not going to work for you, because for me, when I hear people, oh, I'm matching energy, I'm not matching anybody's energy.
Yeah.
They have to come up and match mine. I'm not lowering my energy or my pace or any of that thing that I'm working on to match energy. I'm going to empathize and sympathize, but it's just a certain level of excellence because at the end of the day, I have a product to put out.
Hmm.
Whether it's a book, a film, a magazine, or whatever. And if you're not operating in excellence, they're not looking at you. I
They're
signed the
looking at
contract.
you. That's
I
right.
brought you onto the contract. So therefore, like you said, you're messing up my money.
Yeah, that's a problem.
You're
Because
messing
at
up
the end of
my
the day, those people that you hire, they can move on and do something else. They're really not that invested in your stuff. They won't.
absolute.
They'll wake up and they'll say their sorries and all of that, and that'll be that. But the sorries do not pay the mortgage. They don't pay the
No,
car note. They don't keep your business afloat. They don't do any of those things. And I
no.
just,
And
I don't know what that is. I thought, well, perhaps old
mm-mm.
wise and mighty Cheryl might be able to break that down for me. It's a
No, it's
problem.
just I'll just tell you, it's just it's what you said. Some people they just like it. Well, I'll say a couple of things. Some people don't know what excellence is.
Mm,
That's one. Number two, they're just determined to do whatever it is that they're going to do. It doesn't matter if you tell them these are the three things that I'm focused on. They're going to do whatever it is they feel like they need to do. And then
right.
you have that group of people that they just want you to pay an invoice because they need to do whatever they need to do. And they feel like, oh, you live in such a good life. It's not going to hurt you to pay me $5,000 a month. Just pay it. And if I get any work done, I get it done. And then when you call people out on it, then it's all these posts on social media about you ungrateful, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. But then you have to look at the sum total of you gave the person an opportunity. You told them what the expectation is. And I believe in assignments and attachments. Assignments give you life. They're pouring in, they're getting that work done. Attachments, they drain you.
Yeah,
They
that's true.
drain
You
you.
got to have that reciprocity. It's so funny. I feel like people want to have a fireman's type of work ethic, which is not a
Yeah,
knock on a fireman. It's just that you lay around all day until something
there's
is
a
wrong and then you spring
mhm,
into action. Whereas I need someone who is more like a police officer's mentality, always on the beat. In the car, looking, just always busy as opposed to waiting for the alarm to sound. And I think that a lot of people, when you hire them, they're excited about the title, they're excited about the possibilities. But we all know sometimes the work that we do, it moves at a snail's pace because it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so sometimes, it takes a little while for things to get going. However, you got to be putting in that work at every day. There's no idle time. And I think some people want all the glitz and glamour, but they don't want to get their hands dirty.
mm-mm. And I find that that's more these days. I don't know if it happened from the pandemic or whatever the case may be, but I am 100% in agreement with you. I think people see everything that's going on social media and they think people are getting this stuff. We got this stuff in the last 3 months when they don't realize you've been working on things for 10 years, 15
Mm,
years. And I've had people even say that to my face. Oh, where'd you come from? Where'd you spring up from? I'm like, ma'am, I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. I didn't just start doing books. I've owned other companies. I said, I'm new to you. I'm not new
yes.
to entrepreneurship. And people giggle and laugh it off, but you have to tell people the truth of the matter. We've been working behind the scenes while everybody else, sometimes I know by 10 o'clock, I've done more stuff by 10 o'clock than people will do all day. Am I judging them? No, because that's my life. That's the
Right.
life that I choose. But don't feel like because I choose to live this life and do the things that I need to do, that I should just bring somebody in and say, oh, please go ahead and have all of this. Come to every
Yeah.
event.
And
Be
then take my
thorough.
money on top of it.
Yes. And then send an invoice and you haven't done any work. You're,
Yeah.
you're doing general admit work, but expecting VIP seats.
That's it. It is definitely a pandemic of different types. Let me ask you this before I let you go. What brings you
Okay.
the most joy? Like at its bare, like for me, I love, this is gonna sound so silly, but it's girl talk.
Oh,
I can tell you this. For
Yeah.
a long time, I would always sleep in just a t-shirt. It was
I don't
comfortable.
blame
I
you.
liked it. It's my thing, right? I just loved it. You know, I'm single. I can sleep in whatever I want to. But lately, around the winter, I bought my first pair of pajamas.
You go,
And when
girl.
let me tell you something. It at just the simplest level, it brings me so much joy when I come in and I'm exhausted. All I can think about is my pajamas. I put them on. I kick my feet up. It feels so good and comfortable. And I know it's so simple, but it is the mindset that it puts me in. And now when I was younger, I would have never thought that I would say my pajamas bring me joy, but my pajamas and a good glass of wine,
Ooh,
baby,
yes.
let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
something. So for
Yes.
you, at its simplest, besides all of the other things that what is the simplest thing that brings you the greatest amount of joy?
I have to tell you, it really is serving someone that does not know that I did it. Just fulfilling a need. And I'll tell you, during the pandemic, I would see people in need. I cash out people so much that Cash App closed my account out because I think they thought I was selling drugs. Be or
What?
I would see, I love doing that. And I don't want no any accolades. I don't want people to know, don't call my name or anything. I love serving. I'm a servant at heart. I love like I've paid tuition and the person didn't know that I paid the tuition. And then I'll be at graduation and they'll be telling somebody this story of, oh, and so, and I went to pay this
Wow.
tuition and I don't know who paid the tuition and I never say it. And that's my joy. Jasmine, when before I leave this earth, my true desire is to travel the world giving and impacting people anonymously. I don't want them to have to write an essay. I don't want them to call my name. I just want to, if I know somebody, oh, this person is losing their house. I just want to be able to fly there, pay the house off, and leave. I want to travel the world gifting people anonymously. And I can tell you, frankly, that's why I'm doing what I do right now. When people say, oh, you have books, you have the magazine, you have film. I don't need another house. I don't need another car. I want to be able to fulfill the needs of women who, if I had $5,000, I could start my business. Okay, here's your $5,000. If I had this, that's all I want to do. That gives me joy. I'm a servant. I've been a servant since I was 7 years old. I've been serving people since I was 7 years old.
I remember reading that in your book, The Art of the it's so funny. I This is exactly what I thought it would be. Just like my cup runneth over. Because I feel like you, like I said when we first started, you are exactly who you say you are. And all of the things that you're saying, I am not surprised at all because it shows up in the ministry of your social media. It shows up in the text messages that you send. And I see those things and I receive them. And it feels so good to know that someone out there cares enough to take time out of a very busy day because you have a lot of stuff going on to send just a simple word of encouragement, something to uplift the spirit because you have no idea what somebody else is going through. And
We
that
don't.
was one of the reasons why I said I've got to talk to this angel because I think you're just a bright light and I pray that that light just continues to illuminate. I think that the things that you want to do in terms of serving, you're already doing it. And you're doing it globally. I think through the magazine, I think through social media because it is also global. And so sometimes I think the things that we're looking for, they are also looking for us. And I think when you seek them out earnestly, you will have them the whole time and won't even know it. And I think that's part of the anonymity that you're looking for is that people like me and other people that you send text messages to, it may not be $5,000 in cash, but it's $5,000 in worthiness.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just, you're
Mm-hmm.
already doing what you want, what you already aspire to when you leave this earth, but you're still here. And I think it is beautiful. And listen, I mean this. If you ever need anything, I don't care what it is. You could say, hey, Jazz, I need somebody to come and hold this door. I'll be like, okay, let me get my boots on because I'm going to be up here for a long time. I'll hold the door. What else do you need? If you need anything, I don't care what it is, hosting, speaking, VO, or, I don't care what it is. You could need me to come over and make some cornbread. I'm not the best at making that, but I can make
Me
a great
either.
pound cake. Girl, you just called me. You sent a smoke signal, and baby, I am there.
I appreciate you so much, and I have so looked forward to being here with you. I love you, Jasmine. I adore you. I love what you stand for and who you are in this earth. And you know that my heart is for you. I don't know why I feel so emotional. My heart is for you. I
Thank you.
want to see you win. I want to see you live your wildest dreams. I want to see you have a life and continue to live a life that you don't need a vacation from.
Mm,
That you love life so much that you're like, I don't need a vacation from this life because it's just so wonderful.
oh,
So my door and my heart is always open to you, and I appreciate you having me here today because you know a lot of people, and you could have had anybody, but you chose me,
I did.
and I'm grateful.
I just love you. I really
I
do.
do.
I receive that. I receive that in abundance and I throw it right back at you. Now, the next time we get together, we're going to have our mimosas,
Look, I'm coming
little
to LA.
tequila.
Look, I'm coming to LA. So me, you, and our friend,
We are going to get together. You know, we got to break bread. We had a fabulous time
yeah,
the last time you came in. And before I let you go, let me go on and put this out there, baby.
what?
Your fashion sense, the elegance that you have when you walk in, I'm like, who this right here, Hoppo? I'm coming in, me. I am what I am. I'm a country girl. I like to, I'm gonna be cute. But baby, ain't nobody gonna be as cute as you when they walk in. I'm like, who is this gorgeous, just almighty Isis coming through every time I see you? Snatched to the gods. Let me, baby,
You're
keep
so
shining. Keep doing it. Just keep doing
I
it. And know
love,
we watching. We see you with your beautiful
I
self.
love you with your beautiful self. And I'll see you soon. I'll be in LA soon.
Okay, great. We'll connect then.
Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
Cheryl. Bye
Okay.
bye.
All right.